This Bible, actually, I think it was this one you took into court. What were the relevant passages for you?
Correct. Thank you for asking.
February 24, 2026, Southwark Crown Court, London. Russell Brand walks in gripping a worn Bible, 3 crucifixes swinging against his open shirt, there to deny 2 more charges connected to historic allegations, bringing his total count to 7, involving 6 women, stretching back to 1999. A reporter asks how he's feeling. He smiles and says one word: blessed. This is the same man once famous for turning every sacred subject he could find a microphone near into a punchline. So which is it? A man genuinely changed, or a man performing salvation for a jury, a fan base, and a camera? Before we get into it, hit subscribe and smash that like button. By the end of this, you might change your mind twice. Over the past 2 years, Brand has turned nearly every court appearance into a costume of devotion, a prayer book clutched to his chest, a white cowboy hat and sunglasses at one hearing, a string of crosses at another. He's denied every single charge against him, every single time, calling the whole case a coordinated attack tied to his political commentary. And the public has split almost exactly down the middle. Honestly, watching the footage, you can't tell if you're looking at a man clinging to faith because it's the only thing left, or a man who's read the room and knows exactly what a Bible looks like on camera. Supporters point to his own description of grace, the idea that nobody, however broken, is beyond forgiveness. Critics point to the timing, because here's the detail that's impossible to ignore. Brand's conversion didn't happen quietly, in private, years before any of this. It happened in public, in the headlines, right alongside the worst allegations of his life. And that timing is exactly why so many people, including plenty of Christians, don't believe a word of it. Brand spent the 2000s as one of Britain's most recognizable comedians, a BBC radio host, a Big Brother spin-off presenter, then a Hollywood leading man in films like Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek. He married Katy Perry in 2010. He built a persona on excess, drugs, drink, and a stage act that treated nothing as off-limits, including religion itself. In recent years, he reinvented himself again, this time as an online wellness and politics commentator with millions of followers. The unraveling began in September 2023, when Channel 4's documentary series Dispatches, alongside an investigation from the Sunday Times, published accounts from multiple women describing troubling encounters with Brand during his years of fame. Between 2006 and 2013, Brand denied everything immediately, framing the reports as a smear campaign. The Metropolitan Police opened an investigation within days. 18 months, that's how long it took police to go from those first reports to an actual charge. 18 months of a man's reputation being tried in public before anything was tried in a courtroom. Both the BBC and Channel 4 later acknowledged in internal reviews that staff had felt unable to raise concerns about Brand's conduct during his time at the networks. A quiet admission that something had been allowed to slide for years. In April 2025, the Crown Prosecution Service formally charged Brand with offenses connected to 4 women, with incidents allegedly dating between 1999 and 2005, including one historic episode tied to a hotel room in Bournemouth during a political conference. Brand pleaded not guilty to all of it at Southwark Crown Court that May, arriving with his now familiar prayer book in hand. He's acknowledged living an extremely indulgent life during that period, but insists every relationship was something both people wanted. If you found faith the same month your name started appearing in criminal headlines, how long do you think it would take people to actually believe you? Then in January 2026, 2 more women came forward. 2 additional charges. The total climbed to 7 counts across 6 women, with the timeline now stretching all the way to 2009. The Crown Prosecution Service has publicly warned the press against prejudicial coverage, reminding everyone that Brand, legally, remains innocent until proven otherwise. He's not the only public figure running this exact playbook. For Brand, the moment that crystallized the public's doubt wasn't a courtroom, it was a couch. Promoting his new memoir, How to Become a Christian in 7 Days, he sat down with Piers Morgan and was asked which Bible passage he'd been reading in court. What followed was almost 2 unbroken minutes of him flipping through the pages, unable to find it, eventually admitting on camera that the verse he meant simply wasn't there anymore. He settled instead for a passage from Isaiah, something about anger turning into comfort, and pushed forward. If you're going to carry a Bible into a courtroom as a symbol of who you've become, that's the one passage you'd think you'd have memorized cold. The clip went viral within hours. Critics at The Telegraph, The Times, and The Eye all reviewed the book itself and landed in the same place: that it read less like spiritual reflection and more like image rehabilitation, dressed up in scripture. Meanwhile, Hilton released his own raw, unscripted apology video, no book deal, no interview circuit, saying plainly that for years he'd cared only about clicks and attention, that he never stopped to think about who he was hurting, and that he now believes he's been forgiven by God, and harder still, by himself. Brand's trial, originally expected to begin this very June, has now been pushed back to October 12th. With the court anticipating roughly 2 months of testimony given the number of charges and witnesses involved. He remains free on bail, living in the United States, required to report any change of address. He continues to deny every allegation. Hilton, for his part, has mostly gone quiet since his apology. No follow-up scandal, but no major public ministry either, just a man who says he's trying. What's still unresolved for both of them is the same question: does an October verdict, whichever way it goes, actually settle anything about what either man believes in his heart? Courts can rule on guilt. They were never built to rule on sincerity. Maybe the most honest answer is that nobody outside Russell Brand and nobody outside Perez Hilton can actually know what's real here. Not the critics calling it grift, and not the supporters calling it grace. A person can be flawed and still be telling the truth about wanting to change. A person can also be guilty of exactly what they're accused of and still mean every word of a prayer. Those two things have never been mutually exclusive, however much we wish they were. The only verdict that's actually coming is a legal one, in October. The other verdict, whether either man's faith is real, was never going to be decided by an interview, a book, or a courtroom. It's decided by what they do next when no one's filming. If you've made it this far, let us know in the comments which story stuck with you more. And don't forget to like and subscribe for the next one.